culinary.
The Forbes India-Tycoons of tomorrow list represents leaders who faced adversity but had the courage to continue to march ahead, whose one success led to another, making their journey and not just the destination an inspiration. This week's special episode features Facebook creators Saransh Goila and Sanjyot Keer. Facebook for Creators is a platform for outstanding young innovators and entrepreneurs to manage their presence, grow their community and build their business on a global scale.
My name is Saransh Goila. I'm a chef. I run a brand called Goila Butter Chicken. I've been cooking since I was 12 years old, strictly out of hobby. A lot of people in my family used to think that I kind of picked it up from my grandfather because he was a passionate cook. One of the turning points in my life was when I was offered to do this show called Roti Rasta or India. It was about a chef traveling 20,000 kilometers of India by road in 100 days to cover 60 cities and 25 states. It totally changed my perception as a chef. Every 200 kilometers of India, the taste of water, the kind of spices we use, the spice blends we use, the vegetables, everything changes. The way people treat food, even that changes. The only thing that remains common is our love for food. This was in 2012, and since then my journey has been about all about India and its diversity when it comes to our cuisine. Based on the same show, I wrote a book called India on My Platter, which was a bestseller and in the world of food. It is a travelogue, it's not a recipe book, it's a travelogue by a chef, and it does have few recipes in it, but it's essentially about a young boy who's just out of his training as a chef, trying to figure where does he stand in this world as a chef. A lot of people would read it and be like, oh, this is so simple to read, and that's what it is. It's not an intellectual or a book. It's about you reading about a boy who figured on 100 days of his travel across India that what is Indian food all about. I shifted to Mumbai in the year 2013. That's when I started doing these housewarming parties where I would invite people from Twitter or Facebook just to network because I was new to the city. I started doing these 10, 12 people pop up in my home where people would come. I would cook my version of butter chicken for them because they're like, oh, Delhi boy, feed us some Northwest frontier food. The Goila butter chicken became the highlight of those evenings. And in fact, Goila butter chicken was a hashtag on Twitter. Before it became a brand. It was coined by one of my two very good friends today from Mumbai, and I realized, you know what, this could actually be a full-blown venture. The fact that this city requires butter chicken, that there is no brand that tells you that we serve you this quality of butter chicken, and I kind of saw a space for it. I started the brand in 2016 after 3 years of doing many pop-ups. And yeah, rest I feel has been an eventful last 2 years with the brand. But what we realized after having got the product into the real market was that that people cared about the product they were consuming. The delivery market was not only about eating dirty Chinese or the dirty Indian food. There was also space to serve them other dishes, whereas we have dishes like Sindhi style mutton. We have our own signature creation called naan bombs, which have become really popular. So we also realized that the space is innovative. As two chefs and my partner Vivek Sahani, both of us came up with Goila butter chicken, and we both realized that there were very few chef-driven delivery-led ventures, and that's the kind of space we found into the market. Last year, when Chef George Calambaris was traveling to India, he was here for his pop-up in Mumbai, and my brand manager, Kavneet, knew him well, because she does a lot of events. And she said, chef, if you're in Mumbai, you should try this butter chicken. And he said, I don't like butter chicken because he's like, it's sweet and creamy and it's not my kind of food. And she kind of told him that you must just give this version a try. If you don't like it, fair enough. I took those butter chicken takeaway boxes for him with some Romali roti, with some biryani rice and with some dessert and naan bombs. Him and his team ate that butter chicken right out of the boxes. Because the first thing that you notice about this butter chicken when you open it is a smoky aroma, and that kind of makes it appetizing, and suddenly you want to at least give it a shot. And when he ate it, he's like, you're cheating me, this is not butter chicken. And I think that was one of the most exciting moments of having run this brand, to see a chef like George to be able to break it down and say, you know what, the fact that you just run a butter chicken brand and the fact that you're specializing that certain product, a dish that I don't even admire anymore, but the fact that it is so tasty, it is so intricate, there are so many smaller nuances to it. There is smokiness, there's a whiff of aroma of spices, and he could actually break it down. And it was fascinating for me that somebody could appreciate the fact that we worked hard on a classic Indian dish which is known to be fed with color, sugar, and supposed to be just, you know, an average Joe version of butter chicken that exists around the globe. And from him I kind of learned, if we can have specialized sushi chefs from Japan, why can't we have specialized Indian chefs who do certain kind of gravies or who do certain parts of Indian cuisine? You don't have to do the entire 100 dish menu. You can do a 10 dish menu and then still be a master of those 10 dishes. And that kind of led and opened a gateway to reach MasterChef Australia, where Chef George said that, you know what, this needs to come to Melbourne and people here need to try the real version of butter chicken or your take on butter chicken. And we were a part of the Melbourne Food and Wine Festival in March 2018, and that led for us, that gave us an opportunity to go to MasterChef Australia with Chef George. Has been a very special association for me as a chef for the brand, because he's been able to show us how the world thinks about Indian cuisine and how the world thinks about Indian food. And now our aim is to change that image of our cuisine. So Goila Butter Chicken started like a mom and pop store where we just wanted people to sample 5 dishes, which was a Goila Butter Chicken, a Goila Butter Chicken roll, a Goila Butter Chicken biryani, and a dal and a mutton to support it. That is how it started. We were a 10 dish menu. Now we have evolved into being a 25 dish menu because we've realized customers who come back to us need something more apart from butter chicken. Hence came the naan bombs. I think naan bombs have been a hugely successful product on our menu. We have a full category now that belongs to naan bombs as a dish. And also what we have realized is that we try to not separate our menu now in the format of appetizers, mains, desserts. We want to change the approach where naan bombs is a category and where dishes are categories themselves, where butter chicken is going to be a category, where butter chicken roll, biryani, and so on and so forth. So we are now at 3 outlets. We started with 1. We are in Andheri, Bandra and Lower Parel, only restricted to Mumbai right now. But our growth plans now are extensive. We are very soon moving to Pune and Bangalore. We are scaling up in Mumbai. So the future of the brand is for it to be a pan-India butter chicken brand. And that's the kind of change we have seen. We've been able to standardize the recipe. We've taken a lot of customer feedback as to what do they like about it. We've made small changes to the dish also, keeping in mind consumer feedback. But smokiness is something that's inherent to Goila butter chicken, and we maintain that part of the recipe. Also, what has happened is that we've now started thinking global. From being a Mumbai brand, now we think Melbourne, we think Dubai, we think New York, we think London. So we also want Goila butter chicken to cross boundaries and to travel across the globe. So that's where we are heading. So I started using Facebook as a digital medium to reach out to audience that wanted to directly engage with me. It was more specialized. It was my people. It was my group or my gang, to say so, online, whom I could directly reach out to for suggestions or to share my knowledge with them, and they became my community. So I kind of realized the power of community building through Facebook, and I think that community now helps me grow as a person. Now it's all about bringing a change, making the world aware of what Indian food is really all about. I am working on a project called Sadak Chef, which is about acknowledging unsung heroes of India, where I'm going to bring out forgotten cuisines or forgotten dishes or forgotten arts of cooking food and people who've been doing it for a long time. Also to be able to and the show is not going to be about best vada pav, best pav bhaji. It's going to be about what does it take to make a best pav bhaji, and how do you differentiate between different schools of a pav bhaji. Also to do a more detailed show and talk about communities, talk about Indian food, because it is a community, right? There's a lady who serves vada pav outside my building only for an hour every day, 6:30 to 7:30 in the evening, and then she goes away. So there's a big queue that waits for her every day at 6:30 in the evening. So it's just fascinating. Why does she do it? What inspires her to do it? So that's the project that I'm currently working on. For Goila Butter Chicken, we want to take it to different parts of India, and then hopefully we can extend our arms to the world.
Hi, I'm Chef Sanjyot Keer, founder of Your Food Lab. I'm a creator of food videos, primarily on Facebook, and I've been doing this for past 2 years. Food journey, I believe, started when I was really young. I always saw my mom cooking brilliant food, and at that time my father used to come home from office, and me and my sister, we never used to like sometimes when some dal or something very basic was cooked at home. So he used to just have a specific way of honking his bike's horn, and we used to come to know that he's come home, and we used to run, and he used to take us to have pav bhaji in the night. So I was about 11-12 years old at that time, and I used to watch the pav bhaji wala make the pav bhaji, and it used to fascinate so much. Like I used to be like so fascinated that how he's putting the masalas and the chutney and what he's doing. And because the reason was that when we used to dine at restaurants, we never saw what's happening in the kitchen. So street food was where someone was actually doing that magic, and you can actually watch that. So it was like a magic show for me as a kid. And whenever I got back home, I was so intrigued to actually go into the kitchen and try to cook. And that is when I was 12 years old. I told my mom I want to cook pav bhaji. And she was like, okay, so what do you need? So I was like, I'm a little scared with knives and stuff, but I'll try doing it. And started actually chopping and grinding things. And I made my first pav bhaji when I was 12. And surprisingly, everyone liked it. India did not realize that now there is a smaller screen in everybody's pockets, and you can watch content there. So food was not showed according to modern consumption. Nowadays people have a very shorter span of attention, so you need very fast content to be playing. So that is how I started with the concept of Your Food Lab. I was creating content, but there was always that thought that I want to create content for myself. But a very quick question came in from my father that what do you want to do next? Restaurant, whatever. And I did not have an answer. So I answered that, okay, I'll join your business, alright? And I started going to his factory, which was nowhere close to food. Engineering, which was XYZ for me, I never understood engineering. But I did that for a year. I helped him, and it was an amazing experience, learned a lot from him, how do you do business. In 2015, when I started going to my factory, I registered a domain www.yourfoodlab.com. And I knew I'll do something with this later on, but I did not get that time, or it just did not click that, okay, now is the time to actually start doing something. One day I was just coming back home from my factory, and with my father, I told him that I'm not happy. And he was like, what happened? Do you want to not come to the factory? I was like, no, I'm loving it. I love that atmosphere. I'm learning a lot. But I'm just not happy because I'm losing the touch with food, and that is what I'm meant to be. And he asked me, what do you want to do? I did not have an answer then too, but I wanted Saturdays and Sundays off, which he offered very, he was like, you don't come to the factory, it's okay. So I just came back home. I had a DSLR, a very basic one, which I used to use for travel. I had a phone, and I called up a friend, and I shot my first recipe, which was a pav bhaji bruschetta, a fusion recipe. What I do a lot, Indian fusion food, and we just put it in a iMovie, software to edit, and it came out to be brilliant. And that is when I knew that this is what I'm doing. And then I started shooting Saturdays and Sundays. Shot about 60 recipes in my library. Now someone would say like, are you crazy? Like, why would you shoot 60 recipes? Because I knew that if I shoot 5 and if they don't work, I'll stop doing this. I did not want to stop doing this. I knew I love it so much that at least I need 2 months of content to actually prove people that, okay, I'm meant to do this. After the 60 videos, the first video went on air on 25th of April 2016 on Facebook, and I just thought that okay, maybe 200-300 people will watch. I had 335 friends at that time on Facebook, so chalo utne to dekh lenge. And surprisingly, the next day it was like about 6,000-7,000 views. The second recipe at 6 o'clock again went on air. It crossed about 10,000 views. The third recipe, which was a no-bake mango cheesecake, it went on air the next day when I got up, 5 lakh or 6 lakh views, and I was like mind blown, like what happened? And within like about a week's time, it was like about 1.7 million views, and yeah, that was a time, that was a point that changed. Third video hit 1 million views like in about 4 to 5 days. That was something which I was not expecting to happen so quickly. I believed in myself. My first goal was 1 million followers on the page. But I thought it'll take about 2-3 years if it works, and I'll give that much time to myself. But 3 days and 1 million views was something which I was not expecting. So that gave me the boost to actually continue to produce videos and to post a video every day. I had thought that at least for 3-4 months I'll post a video every day so that we get the kickstart. But that continued. We went on to produce a video every day. Obviously that part where money, how do we produce these videos, that question came to my mind. But I had a wonderful team who believed in me, and they supported me, like whenever there was not money or there was money, everyone was so strongly knit that we created video no matter what, and the videos went online. About 4 to 5 months down the lane, we were at about 4 lakh or 5 lakh followers at that time. I got my first brand endorsement, which was, one of the leading FMCG brands in India. And that changed everything. But then after that I started getting a lot of brand endorsements and did branded content on Facebook. And that helped. That got in the money. That got in the confidence that okay, now I am someone who actually can endorse a brand and influence people to use those products. So that built the confidence, and that is how we sustained until now. Monetization has kicked in on Facebook. Basic challenge what a creator faces is when I have to create a video every day. Now what to cook tomorrow? We've made about more than 750 recipes, and only 10% of them would be like just generic recipes like a biryani or a dal makhni. And that is also that I've started to do now because my viewers want me to make such recipes. But other than that, I have made all recipes which you won't find on the internet. It's something new, something unique, fusion, new recipes. So I like to do that. So that is a challenge, but that is not a negative challenge what I see. That is a very positive challenge what I actually face every day, to cook something new tomorrow, and that keeps me going. So I try to be a little ahead of other creators. I try to create more videos and keep it in my library. When others try to copy, I am actually thinking about something else at that moment. I have actually shot something else. We work on different content. That is how I started with the concept Your Food Lab Junior, where my 4-year-old nephew Ian, he started working with me as a chef on the show, and we made a series completely dedicated to kids and healthy eating habits and making junk healthier, and it went viral. The thought of Your Food Lab was to change how food is watched digitally on your screens in India and globally. So to make a mark on television and also on your mobile screens, that how Indian food is watched globally, to be present globally is my next aim. We are still present, like about 20% of our viewership is around the world other than India, but I'll want that viewership to be at least 50% internationally. There's so much to Indian cuisine. Today, when we talk about putting Indian food scene on the global map, there are restaurants, there are chefs like Vikas Khanna or Zorawar, or so many other people who are putting up different amazing concepts around the world. But digitally, I believe that there's a lot to do. 2 years back, if I would have told anyone that my career, what I'm opting for is going to be like making a recipe video of a minute and I'm going to upload it on Facebook, I think that person would have laughed at me. It was a very silly thought according to everyone. If I would have killed that thought, I wouldn't have been sitting here. My one video which I uploaded on Facebook on 25th April 2016, that moment changed my life completely. These 2 years have been the most beautiful years of my life, and I believe this is going to keep me going throughout my life.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.